What would happen to humanity if it encountered an advanced civilization? Right now, you might be lying on your side in bed, scrolling through your phone, half asleep. Outside the window, the night is calm and deep. Starlight pierces the atmosphere, casting faint patches of light on the ceiling. You may never have imagined that out there in the vast, deep space, you've never truly set foot in, some kind of being is quietly watching you, not with its eyes, but through some form of perception you cannot possibly comprehend. Imagine this. You're walking along a country lane. The sunlight is just right. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming. Suddenly, a colony of ants appears at your feet. They're busily carrying scraps of food, building intricate underground palaces. You crouch down, observing them curiously for a few seconds. Then what would you do? Option A. Try to explain general relativity to them. What quantum mechanics is. What the essence of love is. Option B. Walk around them and continue on your way. Option C. Take out the magnifying glass you carry with you. I believe your choice is B. Why not C? Because it's a cloudy day. Choosing B isn't T because you're indifferent, but because, between you, there is simply no possibility of communication. You use completely different perceptual systems, completely different ways of encoding information, completely different frameworks of meaning. The seriousness with which you try to converse with the ants is probably about the same as the seriousness with which they try to send you a distress signal using their antennae. Now, let us magnify this scene by 10 trillion times. What is the foundation of the communication humans take such pride in? We use sound waves to vibrate the air and convey language. We use electromagnetic waves to encode and transmit information. We use chemical signals to express emotions. Our senses are confined to the visible light spectrum. Our brains are locked within a three-dimensional space and a cognitive framework that adds a single dimension of time. Our intelligence, when it comes down to it, is nothing more than a survival tool, evolved by carbon-based life under specific environmental pressures. And what about advanced civilizations? If there were a civilization that developed 10,000 years, or even 1 billion years, before us, would their modes of perception, information carriers, and systems of meaning overlap with ours even in the slightest? This is an extremely profound philosophical question, and modern information theory provides a cold, hard answer. Impossible. Let us introduce a concept, Bayesian inference. It is one of the most important analytical tools in statistics. Its core idea is that your understanding of new information is always built upon your existing prior knowledge. If you and the other party have no shared prior probability distribution, then the exchange of information between you is mathematically equal to zero. Take an example. If you don't understand Chinese, then a Chinese person speaking 10,000 sentences to you in Chinese is no different from noise to you. You wouldn't even be able to tell if it's language or just the sound of the wind. Not because the sound isn't loud enough, but because your brain simply lacks the algorithm to decode that information. Now take this scenario to its extreme. The way an advanced civilization transmits information might be through direct perturbations of gravitational waves, or instantaneous correlations of quantum entanglement, or perhaps some physical phenomenon you can't even name. Every word they speak might contain information encoded across 1 billion dimensions, and you, a pitiful 3-dimensional carbon-based life form, can barely grasp the concept of dimensions, even within a tiny fold of that lump of grey matter, weighing less than a kilogram. The exchange of information between you and them approaches zero. This isn't a problem that can be solved by a language barrier. It is a fundamental rupture at the ontological level. You cannot even share the same reality. The matter you see in their eyes may merely be a projection of some mathematical structure. The passage of time you perceive in their eyes may merely be a static cross-section on a fiber of four-dimensional space-time. So, returning to the original question, if an advanced civilization truly emerged, how would they view us? The answer is that they might not view us at all. Just as you do not view the bacteria in your gut. Not out of hatred, not out of contempt, but because you cannot even perceive their existence. Why would they pay attention to you? This is what Carl Sagan referred to as the indifference of the universe. Not cruelty, but an absolute, indiscriminate and inescapable disregard. Imagine this. If, at this very moment, an ant suddenly spoke up to explain to you a mind-blowing secret it had just discovered, that one of its colony ants had figured out how to carry larger breadcrumbs. How would you react? You might find it amusing. You might even laugh out loud. And then? Would you sit down and engage in a civilized conversation with it? No. You'd simply continue on your way. This is the most likely true nature of the relationship between us and advanced civilizations. Chapter 2: Computational Exploitation in the Dark Forest. Previous chapter. We've been discussing the impossibility of communication. But you might be thinking, even if communication is impossible, surely advanced civilizations must be able to see us. After all, we've sent out so many radio signals into the cosmos. Don't they have warp drives in Star Trek? Sorry, but the real answer might be even harsher. In the eyes of an advanced civilization, we aren't even a threat that needs to be eliminated. We're just background noise. Let us revisit a concept. The second law of thermodynamics. It's one of the most ironclad laws of physics. It tells us that the entropy of the universe, that is, disorder, is always increasing. Maintaining any form of order requires the expenditure of energy. Imagine the refrigerator in your home. It keeps the inside cool by constantly transferring heat from the inside to the outside. This process consumes electricity. It consumes energy. And the universe itself is like a furnace that keeps getting hotter. All order is irreversibly heading toward collapse. Now, imagine a super civilization that has harnessed the energy of a galaxy. They might possess a Dyson sphere, a superstructure that, in theory, could envelop an entire star and collect all of its energy output. They might possess methods of energy utilization that we cannot even begin to comprehend today. But no matter how advanced their technology, one thing will never change: energy is finite. Time is finite. Entropy is irreversible. This means that the primary mission of an advanced civilization is not expansion, nor exploration, but energy conservation. In the background of your phone, aren't there many apps running silently, draining your battery and data? Would you open them one by one to carefully examine whether they pose a threat? No, you'd simply tap clear all. You don't even know what they are. You only know they consume resources. They are noise. In the eyes of an advanced civilization, humankind is just a bunch of background processes. The radio signals we take pride in, from World War II radar waves to modern cell phone communications, and those ambitious visions of civilizational calling cards in deep space. To them, are merely tiny disturbances in the cosmic background radiation. It's like hearing a distant cough in a quiet library. Would you consider that cough a threat? No, you'd just frown and pray it stops immediately, preferably never to be heard again. This is the true essence of the dark forest theory. It isn't a life or death survival game, but rather a cold-blooded economic problem of computational optimization. For an advanced civilization to maintain a highly ordered system requires the consumption of vast amounts of energy. Any disturbance deviating from steady-state equilibrium, whether a signal from another civilization or some potentially runaway physical process, is a potential source of entropy. For an advanced civilization of extreme rationality, the optimal strategy is not to eliminate all threats, but to suppress the very seeds of potential threats on the spot before they can truly become a threat. The radio waves emitted by humanity, in their eyes, are precisely the kind of disturbance that needs to be suppressed. We think we're calling out to friends, but in reality, we're setting off firecrackers right outside their windows. And have you noticed? The most terrifying aspect of this logic is that it doesn't require any malice at all. Do you need to hate an ant to crush it underfoot? No, you don't. You just did it by accident. Or perhaps you were simply walking normally. To an advanced civilization, clearing us out might be like when you're walking and kick a pebble out of the way, not because the pebble offended you, but because it was inconveniently placed. This is the core argument of Chapter 2. An advanced civilization's treatment of humanity is not driven by hatred, nor even by a deliberate effort to eliminate or suppress us. They simply act on an instinct for thermodynamic efficiency, making the most economical choice, clearing us out as an afterthought. And we aren't even worthy of being treated with any formality. Chapter 3: The Dimensional Decline of Perception. Hearing this, you might already feel a bit uneasy. The civilization we take pride in, the intelligence we boast of, in the eyes of the universe, they are actually so insignificant. But you might still be thinking, even a starving camel is bigger than a horse. Even if advanced civilizations don't take us seriously, we're still the cream of the crop among carbon-based life forms, right? No matter how backward our technology is, we're still intelligent beings, after all. Friend, let me tell you an even harsher truth. If an advanced civilization wanted to destroy us, they wouldn't even need to lift a finger. All they need is a single thought. And that thought wouldn't even have to be directed at us. Let us shift our perspective to physics. You may have heard of the fine structure constant. It's an incredibly mysterious number in physics. Its value is approximately 1/137. It is this tiny decimal that determines how atoms bond into molecules, how chemical reactions occur, and how light interacts with matter. If this number were to change even slightly, even by just 0.1%, what would happen? The answer is that chemistry would cease to exist. Atoms would no longer be able to bond into molecules. Every biochemical reaction taking place inside your body, including everything that allows you to think, feel, and live, would cease in an instant. This isn't death. Death is a process. This is an end. A complete, instantaneous, and irreversible end. You might think this is merely a theoretical possibility. The physical constants weren't set by God. They are part of the laws of physics. How could they just be changed on a whim? But think about it carefully. Do we truly understand what physical constants are? We know the fine structure constant exists in the universe. We have also measured it in different directions and at different times. And it appears to vary slightly. Of course, this is still a matter of debate. But the key point is, we do not know why it has this specific value. At the very frontier of physics, there is an ultimate question, known as the cosmological constant problem. Why is the rate of the universe's expansion exactly the value that allows life to exist? If it were even slightly larger, the universe would collapse before it could form. If it were just a little smaller, the universe would have fragmented into pieces before it even formed. One possible explanation is that our universe is simply the result of some parameter tuning. It's like when you play SimCity on a computer. You can adjust the difficulty, resources, and weather. And the parameters of the real universe may also have been set this way by some force. If this is true, then for an advanced civilization to adjust our universe would be as simple as you or I changing a value in the game settings. Just imagine this. You're a player playing an open-world game with an NPC city in it. On a whim, you decide to increase the gravity a bit because you think it'd be more fun. So you move the mouse a little. And then every building in that city would collapse. Everyone would fall over. And all liquids would redistribute according to the new physical laws. For the inhabitants of that world, it would be a catastrophic disaster. But for you, it's just a slider on a settings menu. This is the true meaning of a dimensional strike when perception. Advanced civilizations don't need to fire lasers at us. They don't need to drop nuclear weapons. They don't need to wage any form of war. They simply need to perform actions in higher dimensions that we cannot possibly comprehend. And the side effects of these actions, for us, are the end of the entire world. What is even more terrifying is that this process might be completely unconscious. Just like when you reduce the permissions of an app on your phone. You don't hate that app. You just feel it doesn't need that many permissions. But for that app, a part of its functionality is lost forever from that moment on. And it doesn't even know why. On a cosmic scale, we might not even qualify as an app. We are merely a line of insignificant code within some super program. One day, a programmer or some running AI casually optimized resource allocation. And so, this line of code, along with the entire universe simulation it supports, simply evaporated silently into the data stream. No war, no explosion, no wailing, just disappearance. Because disappearance itself, to those who are completely unaware of our existence, comes at zero cost. Chapter 4, The Slaughterhouse of Time. If Chapter 3 left you feeling despair on a physical level, then Chapter 4 might cause you to completely break down on a philosophical level. Because what we're going to discuss is time. That thing we thought we possessed, thought we could control, thought would serve us. Let us conduct a thought experiment. Imagine you're the director of an epic film. You're about to shoot a movie about human civilization. From the moment the first caveman picked up a stone, to the moment the last nuclear reactor cools down. The film runs 2 hours. On your editing desk, all time is equivalent. Within those 2 hours of footage, you can rewind, fast forward, pause, and slow down at will. The moment the first Australopithec stood upright, and the moment you pressed the button to detonate an atomic bomb. In the editing software, they are merely the distance between one frame and the next. They are equally important and equally unimportant. Now I'm going to tell you. This might be how human history appears to an advanced civilization. In physics, there is a concept called Minkowski spacetime. It's one of the mathematical foundations of Einstein's theory of relativity. Its core idea is that time isn't a flowing river, but, like space, is merely one dimension within the four-dimensional structure of space-time. There is no fundamental difference between the past, present, and future. They're all just different coordinate points on four-dimensional space-time. What does this mean? It means that if we could stand in four-dimensional space and look down upon the three-dimensional world, just as you look down upon a two-dimensional plane from three-dimensional space, what would you see? You would see a time tube stretching from the Big Bang to the heat death of the universe. Every event along this entire timeline exists simultaneously. The extinction of the dinosaurs and your birth are two equally stationary points on this time tube. Columbus's discovery of the New World and Musk's rocket launch are two equally stationary cross-sections on this timeline. And what you call your life, from fertilized egg to death, is merely an extremely thin, twisted, fleshy strand within this timeline. To you, it appears as a continuous, flowing, meaningful narrative. But to a being in a higher dimension, it is merely a static geometric structure, no different in essence from a French fry on your desk. Now let us take this analogy a step further. Do you remember those flipbook toys you played with as a child? A small booklet, where each page depicts a sequence of frames of a single action. When you flip through them quickly, the characters come to life. To the figures on the pages, time is flowing. They are living their lives. But to you, the one flipping the pages, all the scenes exist simultaneously. You can flip to any page at will. You could tear out a single page, and the others wouldn't even notice. This is what human history looks like to an advanced civilization. Throughout your entire life, you might experience war, revolution, love, death, joy, and despair. These things feel so real to you, so heavy, so unbearable. But in the eyes of an advanced civilization, they are merely bumps and folds on the fabric of four-dimensional space-time. They can slice through it at will, edit it at will, and delete it at will. This is not a metaphor. This is relativity, the reality mathematics reveals to us. You might ask, even if time is mathematically static, as three-dimensional beings, aren't we still limited to experiencing the present? And even if an advanced civilization possessed this ability, why would they bother to intervene? Good question. But please recall the content of Chapter 3. An advanced civilization might not need to lift a finger to destroy us. Any action they take in higher dimensions, whether adjusting physical constants, optimizing some energy field, or simply because we're blocking a passageway, any of these could cause a segment of our timeline to vanish suddenly. And that vanished segment might be your grandfather's childhood, your own birth, or a pivotal moment that determined humanity's fate. To them, it's like using the clone stamp tool in Photoshop to gently wipe away an area. That region ceases to exist, leaving no trace, no memories at all. You wouldn't even realize what you've lost, because that lost period never existed for you in the first place. Your causal chain would spontaneously reweave itself, making everything appear as if it had always been this way. It's terrifying when you think about it. Isn't it? But please don't despair just yet. Let us keep going. Because things might get worse before they get better. But eventually, we'll find a way out. Chapter 5: The Pasture of Genes. If the first 4 chapters were about shattering your worldview, then Chapter 5 might make you begin to doubt your own body and even question your so-called life choices. Let us start with a paradox. In 1950, physicist Enrico Fermi asked a simple question. Since the universe is so vast, and there are so many stars, even if the probability of intelligent life evolving on a planet is low, multiplied by such a huge number, there should be plenty of alien civilizations out there. So where are they? This question later became known as the Fermi paradox. It has puzzled scientists for decades. People have proposed countless possible explanations. They don't like to travel. They've already gone extinct. They're hiding in dark matter. They don't want to disturb us. But every explanation has massive flaws. To this day, we still haven't found any reliable evidence of alien civilizations. One chilling explanation is the Great Filter. The core idea of this theory is that there may be some kind of filter in the universe, a hurdle that all civilizations encounter. During their development, most civilizations perish at this stage, while only a tiny fraction manages to advance. And we humans may be standing right in front of this hurdle. Now the question arises, if such a filter truly exists, what is its nature? One possibility is technological self-destruction. After developing sufficiently advanced technology, a civilization ultimately destroys itself. Through nuclear war, climate disasters, or runaway artificial intelligence. But this explanation leaves us unable to answer a crucial question. Why haven't we discovered any civilizations that have already passed through it? Another, even more chilling possibility is that they didn't pass through naturally at all, but were designed to do so. Let us re-examine a concept we thought we understood: evolution. We assume evolution is random. Genetic mutations, natural selection, survival of the fittest. But have you ever wondered why all life on Earth uses the same DNA code? Why is the fundamental chemical basis of all life carbon and water? Why did intelligence, this ability to comprehend the universe, emerge at this precise moment in time? These coincidences are statistically almost impossible. But if we accept the anthropic principle that the universe in which we exist must be capable of supporting our existence, then everything falls into place. Yet this, in turn, implies that our evolution may not be natural, but rather designed. Just as a programmer who wrote a program simulating the evolution of life. Within the program, thousands upon thousands of virtual organisms undergo random mutations, competing with one another, surviving through natural selection. The programmer doesn't care which specific little organism survives. He cares only whether this system can ultimately evolve intelligence. Intelligence capable of understanding the code itself. If you were that programmer, what would you do? You might set certain limits within the system, so that the brain capacity of these virtual organisms never reach a certain threshold. Keep their lifespans perpetually too short. Ensure their attention is perpetually consumed by the pressure to survive, so they will never truly awaken. Never discover that they are part of a program. They will forever believe they are free. Believe they are pursuing happiness. Believe their lives are full of meaning. This is the core argument of Chapter 5. The intelligence we take pride in may simply be a preset limit. We think we are evolving, but in reality, we are merely running on a fenced-in prairie. We think we are exploring the world, but in reality, we have never left the pasture. And outside the fence are higher dimensional farmers. They may not even need to kill us. They only need to ensure that we can never understand the true nature of the universe. Our knowledge, our science, everything we take pride in, is nothing more than fodder in the pasture. We think we are climbing the peaks of knowledge. In reality, we're merely circling within the boundaries we're allowed. We think we're exploring the universe, but in reality, we can't even see the universe's fence. This is the true meaning of the logically locked evolutionary zoo. It's not because we haven't tried hard enough, but because our very capacity to try has been designed from the start. Chapter 6, The Logical Deadlock. All right, we've come a long way now. Let us take a breather, then dive into the final core section. In the previous 5 chapters, we've discussed the impossibility of communication, the disregard for physical fragility in the face of computational exploitation, our helplessness in the face of time, and our imprisonment by evolution. Each chapter has been reducing humanity from a proud civilization to a marginal figure in the cosmos. But none of this is the most devastating part. Chapter 6 addresses the ultimate question: is the reality in which we exist actually real? You may have heard of the simulation hypothesis. This is a thought experiment proposed by philosopher Nick Bostrom. If the universe is a simulation run by a supercomputer, then from within you cannot prove it is fake. Because from the inside, a fake reality is indistinguishable from a real one. This idea was once merely philosophical speculation. But in recent years, with the rise of quantum computing, and as our understanding of the universe's nature has deepened, it is transforming from metaphysics into a scientific hypothesis. The key lies in a physical law, a Randall-S principle. This is a fundamental principle of information theory. To erase one bit of information requires at least 10 squared kT energy, where K is the Boltzmann constant and T is the temperature. In other words, processing information, that is, computation, comes at an energy cost. Now let us take a step back. This video you're watching, every pixel, every frame, every note of background music, all of it must be computed by a computer with limited processing power. If it were to simulate an infinitely detailed universe, what would it do? It would take a shortcut. That is, load data on demand. Imagine this. You're in an open-world game. The distant mountains appear to be rolling and undulating, rich in detail. But when you actually get close, you'll find it's just a texture map. The game engine only loads high-resolution models within your field of view, while for areas you can't even see, it simply renders simple blocks of color. This is loading on demand, a common technique for simulating infinite detail under conditions of limited computational power. Now, let us take this logic to its extreme. If our universe is a simulation run on a supercomputer, and that computer's computational power is not infinite, then what would it do? It would use coarse graining on the macroscopic scale, while on the microscopic scale, especially at scales we can never directly observe, it would take a shortcut by using a probability wave function, those quantum phenomena we believe to be indeterminate. may not be due to physics being inherently probabilistic, but rather because the computer is conserving computational power. It only truly calculates a definite result when we observe it, and we, as the simulated subjects, believe we are thinking freely. We believe our pain and joy are genuine emotions, but in reality, we may merely be temporary variables within certain computational units. If this is true, then what is an advanced civilization? They aren't aliens. They are the administrators of the simulator. We assume they are another civilization, evolving and developing through technological progress, just like us in the universe. But in reality, they might simply be programmers standing outside the simulator, watching us struggle and multiply on the screen, inventing the internet, landing on the moon, just as you watch the Sims you've created, with their little figures bustling about, and the meaning of our existence. To them, it might simply be to conserve computational power, because a continuously running simulation requires constant resource allocation. If true intelligence were to emerge within this simulation, capable of independent thought, able to question its own existence, and attempting to crack the simulation's code, then the stability of the simulation would be threatened. What is the best strategy? It is not to kill these individuals attempting to awaken, as that would cause the simulation to collapse. Rather, it is to set a limit for them, ensuring their intelligence remains forever at a level where they can solve problems, but unable to question the nature of the problems themselves. Does this sound familiar? That's right, we just discussed this in Chapter 5. And now, Chapter 6 provides the final answer. If we truly encounter an advanced civilization, that entity we assume to be an alien life form, we'll discover that we haven't encountered another civilization at all. We'll realize that we've merely discovered the boundaries of the simulation. And then, a massive question might arise in your mind. What about me? My current thoughts? My current doubts? My current fears? Are these also pre-programmed? Could it be that everything I thought I was thinking for myself is actually just a program running on autopilot? This is a logical dead end. You cannot prove it from within, nor can you disprove it from within. But the good news is, perhaps we can find a way out. From another angle. Chapter 7, The Ultimate Sublimation of Existentialism. Finally, we have reached the final section. I know that over the past hour, I've led you down a very dark path. We've discussed the impossibility of communication. We've discussed the fate of being completely ignored. We've discussed physical fragility. We've discussed the freezing of time. We've discussed evolutionary imprisonment. We've discussed the despair of simulation. Your heart may have already sunk to the bottom. But please allow me to ask you a question. A question that still remains, even after all this despair. So what? Let me explain what I mean. When you were a child, you might have thought you were the center of the world. All the adults revolved around you. The universe existed for you. Your joys and sorrows were the most important things in the world. Then you grew up. You discovered the world is vast. You are just one among billions. No one cares about your pain. Your happiness is fleeting. You are no longer the protagonist of the universe. Does that make you despair? Most people's answer is no. Because even though we are no longer the protagonists of the universe, we are still the protagonists of our own lives. We can still pursue happiness. We can still experience love and be loved. we can still feel genuine warmth. In the sunlight of an afternoon, the cold, indifferent truth of the universe has indeed led us to despair. It has set us free. Now, let us take that same logic one step further. If human civilization truly has no meaning in the universe, we are merely dust. Not even as much as dust. So what does this mean? It means there is no higher power judging us, no God watching over us, recording every good and bad deed, no alien civilization evaluating us, deciding whether we should be preserved or eradicated, no cosmic laws grading us, determining if you pass or fail. Everything simply exists. Your sleep tonight may just a tiny ripple in the universe's entropy. Your dreams might just be random electrical discharges. The meaning of your life, that answer you've spent most of your life searching for, might not exist in any objective place at all. But precisely because of this, you are free to create your own meaning. This is not self-deception. It is a true, absolute existential freedom. Imagine you wake up amidst a field of ruins. Everything around you has collapsed. All the labels you once held, your social status, your family roles, your professional achievements, all reduced to nothing. Amid the ruins, what would you do? There are two possibilities. One is that you kneel in the rubble, wailing, cursing fate's injustice, mourning what you've lost. And then you starve to death right there. The other is that you stand up, look around, and begin to search. Search for any usable debris, anything to fill your stomach, any tiny spark that can reignite hope. Then you begin to rebuild. Not to prove anything to anyone, not to fulfill some mission, but because the act of rebuilding itself is proof of your existence. This is the true meaning of the dust dancing on the ruins. We are not the protagonists of the universe, but this means we don't need to play the part of the protagonist. We can simply be ourselves. Laugh when you want to laugh. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to love, love. If you want to think, think. We don't need to explain ourselves to any higher power. We don't need anyone's approval to exist. This is freedom. Complete, unconditional, inalienable freedom. And let us take it a step further. If we really are the product of some simulation, so what? Even if our suffering is just a piece of code running, that code feels the pain. Doesn't that make it suffering? You could say a cup of water boiling on the stove. Is it suffering real? Its water molecules are moving violently, colliding with the sides of the container, screaming out in agony. But we wouldn't say it's suffering, because its suffering is merely a physical phenomenon, devoid of consciousness. But you are different. You know you're in pain. You know you're afraid. You know you're in despair. This very knowing, this subjective experience, could it possibly be false? No matter what your body is made of, whether your consciousness is based on a neural network or silicon circuits, as long as you feel it, it is real. Your pain is yours. Your joy is yours. Your fear is yours. Your hope is yours. No higher reality can deny this. This is where we must ultimately arrive, acknowledging that human insignificance is not the end of despair, but the beginning of freedom. It is precisely because we are meaningless within the grand narrative that we possess the absolute sovereignty to define our own microscopic happiness. Tonight, you will fall asleep to this voice. You might have a dream. in which you stand at the edge of the universe, watching the Milky Way unfold before you. Then you will let out a soft laugh. Not because you find it funny, but because you have finally realized that those fears that once plagued you, those cosmic questions that kept you awake all night, are actually no problem at all. You are merely a fleeting, fragile, and insignificant being. But you have existed. You have felt. You have thought. And these are things that no advanced civilization, no cosmic law, no simulation program can ever take away from you. Good night, then. Today's journey ends here. I don't know if, after listening to this, your heart feels at peace, or even more turbulent. But if you're willing, I'd like to hear your thoughts. In your eyes, is the universe cold and indifferent, or warm and welcoming? Do you think human existence has meaning? If you could send a message to a being 10,000 light years away,